A woman's mind is a complex, layered masterpiece, influenced by both emotions and instincts. When someone who once pursued her with attention and effort suddenly withdraws, it doesn't just go unnoticed. It triggers something deep within her psychology. The absence of contact can stir curiosity, reflection, and even longing. But why does this happen? What shifts in her thoughts and emotions when you stop reaching out? Today, we'll not only explore these subtle yet profound reactions, but we'll also apply the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. By staying composed, mastering your emotions, and embracing the power of detachment, you'll understand how stepping back can create clarity and even spark attraction. Whether you're navigating the uncertainty of modern relationships or trying to understand the impact of your actions, this video will give you the insights you need to decode this fascinating dynamic. Stay tuned, because what you'll learn might just transform how you approach connection and control. Let's get started. Number 1. The initial surprise and questions. When you decide to stop reaching out to a woman, one of the first things that may happen is a sense of surprise or uncertainty on her end. It's a natural response. Communication that was once frequent or steady has suddenly disappeared. She might start questioning what led to this change. Why isn't he reaching out anymore? Did something happen? These questions may spark a range of emotions within her, from curiosity to irritation, as she processes the unexpected silence. Here's where Stoic wisdom becomes invaluable. Stoicism emphasizes directing your energy toward what you can control: your own actions, thoughts, and emotional responses. Her reaction, no matter how intense or indifferent, is beyond your influence. Trying to manage or predict her emotions only leads to unnecessary frustration. Instead, focus on maintaining your composure and reflecting on your own intentions. Let's say you've been the one consistently starting conversations, planning meetups, or putting in most of the effort. Over time, you might sense the dynamic feels uneven, leaving you feeling unappreciated or like you're chasing her. So, you step back and stop initiating. Naturally, she might find herself wondering, what changed? Why isn't he talking to me anymore? That's the moment where her initial surprise or confusion takes hold. But instead of rushing to explain yourself or ease her discomfort, you allow the silence to unfold. This silence isn't just impactful for her, it's transformative for you. When used thoughtfully, silence creates space. Space for her to evaluate her feelings, and space for you to realign with your own sense of self-worth. Stoicism teaches that silence isn't just the absence of sound, but a tool for gaining clarity and balance. During this pause, you can observe your own emotions, letting go of any impulse to chase or seek validation. This is an act of strength, not indifference. It's rooted in the understanding that you cannot control her thoughts or feelings. They are hers alone to process. When you pull back, it shifts the focus in the relationship. If she truly values the connection, this change might prompt her to reconsider her actions and the balance of effort between you both. But more importantly, it gives you the opportunity to assess whether this dynamic aligns with your values and self-respect. Stoic principles remind us that external factors, such as someone's attention or response, shouldn't dictate our inner peace. True strength lies in maintaining emotional equilibrium, regardless of external circumstances. By stepping back and no longer chasing, you signal emotional independence and self-respect. You show that your sense of peace and self-worth isn't tied to her reaction. This can be a powerful realization, not only for her, but for yourself. You're demonstrating that you value your mental and emotional balance over external validation. In doing so, You create a foundation of strength that isn't swayed by the whims of others. This isn't about manipulation. It's about prioritizing your well-being and maintaining your dignity. Silence allows both of you to reflect. It can lead her to reassess her feelings and actions. But more importantly, it enables you to evaluate whether the connection truly serves your growth and values. Ultimately, the power of this approach lies in embracing one of Stoicism's central ideas: control. The only person you can influence is yourself. By shifting your focus from seeking external affirmation to cultivating inner peace, you transform how you navigate relationships. This approach empowers you to remain calm and composed, regardless of how others react. If this resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment or type, "I choose self-respect," below. Your input not only keeps the conversation going, but also helps others reflect on how they can apply these principles to their own lives. Let's continue exploring how these Stoic insights can shape more meaningful interactions in the next discussion. Number 2. Rediscovery and Reflection. When you stop reaching out to or pursuing a woman, it can catch her off guard. She may feel puzzled or unsettled as the dynamic she's grown used to suddenly shifts. This disruption often prompts introspection. She might replay moments, conversations, or actions, trying to piece together what led to this change. She'll likely wonder if she played a role in the silence, or if something about the relationship caused it. However, here's where the Stoic perspective becomes invaluable. While she's reflecting on the relationship, you should use this moment to reflect on yourself. Stoicism reminds us to focus only on what we can control: our thoughts, behaviors, and responses, not someone else's reactions or emotions. Pause and assess the relationship from your own lens. Were you living authentically and staying true to your core values? Or were you driven by a need to chase her, win her approval, or keep her interested at the expense of your own well-being? A Stoic approach encourages you to find worth within yourself, independent of external validation. If you notice that you were prioritizing her attention over your own needs or boundaries, now is the time to ask why. Was it a fear of solitude? Did you tie your self-esteem to how much she valued you? Consider, for example, if you were always initiating texts, making plans, and seeking her attention. When you stop those actions, she will likely notice. But instead of waiting anxiously for her response, use this pause to reflect. Did you lose sight of your own identity in the pursuit of hers? Did you compromise your principles or boundaries just to maintain the connection? If so, this is your chance to realign with your authentic self. Self-reflection through Stoicism isn't about guilt or regret. It's about growth and self-awareness. Maybe you'll discover that you relied too heavily on her approval and neglected your self-respect. Perhaps you'll see that you were giving up too much of who you are for the sake of the relationship. This isn't a time to dwell on mistakes, but to use them as a foundation for building a more grounded, confident version of yourself. Instead of worrying about what she's thinking or whether she'll return, focus on your own development. True power lies in transforming every experience into an opportunity for growth. While she may evaluate her feelings during this time, that's beyond your control. What remains firmly in your hands is how you choose to respond to the silence. Will you use this moment to grow stronger, more aligned with your values? A Stoic wouldn't sit around waiting for her next move or hoping for reconciliation. They would seize the opportunity to reflect on their character and refine their understanding of what they need from life and relationships. By stepping back, you reclaim control over your happiness and no longer allow it to rest in someone else's hands. This is the essence of Stoicism: finding fulfillment not through external validation, but through a steady commitment to your values. While she reflects on the past, focus on how you can evolve, learn, and move forward. This is the path to true inner strength and peace, one that doesn't hinge on whether she returns, but instead on your unwavering dedication to becoming the best version of yourself. Number 3. Boundary probing. When you step back and stop trying to contact her, she might react in ways that seem designed to draw you back in. This could include sending a seemingly casual message, sharing something attention-grabbing on social media, or even creating situations that tempt you to engage. These actions aren't always ill-intentioned. Often, they're her way of assessing where things stand, or checking if she still has influence over you. In these scenarios, many men stumble by responding impulsively. Fear often takes the driver's seat. Fear of losing her completely, fear that she's moving on, or fear that their withdrawal hasn't had the desired effect. Acting from this fear, they respond immediately to her message or fall into the familiar pattern of pursuing her again. Unfortunately, such reactions come from a place of insecurity rather than strength. This is where the mindset of Stoicism becomes a powerful tool. A Stoic understands that true strength is rooted in self-control and inner resolve, not in external validation. When a woman tests your boundaries after you've pulled back, she's likely trying to gauge whether she still holds sway over your actions. However, a man who embraces Stoic principles doesn't waver. He knows that while he can control his own emotions and responses, her behavior is entirely beyond his influence, and he's at peace with that. For example, imagine she sends you a message after several days of silence. It might be a deliberate move to see if you'll immediately re-engage. Instead of rushing to reply out of excitement or anxiety, take a pause. Reflect on whether responding aligns with your values and goals. You might decide to reply, but do so in a calm and intentional way, free of any pressure to impress or win her over. Alternatively, you might choose not to respond, recognizing that staying silent serves your long-term interests better. Either way, your decision stems from inner strength, not emotional impulsivity. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that chasing her attention will win her over. Yet doing so often erodes your self-respect and weakens your position. A Stoic man doesn't seek approval or validation from anyone, not even from someone he's deeply attracted to. His self-worth isn't contingent on someone else's acknowledgement. It comes from within. By maintaining your boundaries, you send a clear message, not just to her, but also to yourself, that your value isn't tied to her response. Think of it this way. When you refrain from reacting to every test or provocation, you exude emotional balance and confidence. People, including women, are naturally drawn to this kind of strength. Not the strength that seeks to control others, but the strength that arises from self-mastery. Life will always present challenges, whether they come from people or circumstances. The key is not to avoid these challenges, but to respond to them with grace and wisdom. When a woman tests your boundaries, it's often a subconscious attempt to gauge your self-assuredness. If you respond emotionally, she'll perceive uncertainty and a need for her validation. On the other hand, maintaining composure and adhering to your values demonstrates that you are grounded and in control of yourself. This isn't about playing games or manipulation. It's about being authentic and secure in who you are. Your focus is not on ignoring her to elicit a reaction, but on prioritizing your own peace of mind and self-respect. Ultimately, a Stoic man understands that true power lies in self-possession. He doesn't need to chase, prove himself, or seek external validation. When she tests your boundaries, see it as an opportunity to exhibit your strength, not by engaging in mind games, but by standing firm in your principles. This sends a powerful message. You don't rely on her approval to feel complete. Your sense of wholeness comes from within, and that's a rare and magnetic quality. Take a moment to reflect on how you've handled similar situations in the past. Have you reacted impulsively, or have you stood firm in your principles? Growth begins with self-awareness, so don't shy away from acknowledging moments where you may have faltered. It's all part of becoming a stronger version of yourself. If this resonates with you, share your thoughts below, or simply type, "I am in control of my actions." Let's keep the conversation going and dive deeper into this journey of self-mastery. Number 4. When she seeks answers. There's a strange shift that happens when you stop reaching out to a woman. Perhaps she seemed indifferent, unbothered by your presence. But when you step back, everything changes. Suddenly, she's curious, reaching out, and questioning what happened. This reaction, often referred to as seeking closure, is one of the most common responses to someone withdrawing their attention. But here's the deeper question. Do you truly owe her the answers she's searching for? Picture this. You've been exchanging texts, maybe even spent time together on a few dates, but something about the dynamic feels off. Her energy might not match yours, or perhaps the connection lacks the depth you're looking for. So instead of continuing to chase or force something that feels unbalanced, you decide to step back. Days go by in silence, and suddenly, there it is, a message from her. "Why haven't you texted me? Did I do something wrong?" In that moment, you might feel the pull to explain yourself, to clear the air, or alleviate her confusion. But this is where a Stoic mindset offers clarity. You don't have to sacrifice your peace of mind to meet someone else's emotional expectations. Think about it. Your mental clarity and emotional energy are limited resources, and they're yours to protect. If providing closure to someone requires reopening emotional wounds or re-engaging in a situation that you've intentionally stepped away from, is it truly worth it? Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can control: our actions, our responses, our inner peace, and not to bend to the external pressures of others. While it's natural for her to seek answers, it's equally important to remember that you have the right to decide how much of yourself you're willing to give. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In this situation, her quest for closure represents the external event. The strength lies in your ability to decide your response. Do you engage in a conversation that might pull you back into an emotionally taxing situation? Or do you choose silence, a response that protects your peace and signals that you've moved forward? Sometimes, silence speaks louder than any explanation. It's worth recognizing that closure doesn't always require dialogue. There's strength in allowing unanswered questions to serve as the closure itself. This isn't about being cold or unkind. It's about maintaining your boundaries and protecting your well-being. Silence, in many cases, can be the most stoic response, one that reflects control over your own emotional state, while honoring the decision you've made to step back. Consider this: engaging. Every time someone demands your attention is a fast track to burnout. By choosing not to explain, you demonstrate that your time and peace are priorities. You're not dismissing her feelings, but rather acknowledging that you've already moved on emotionally. She might seek answers, but the truth is, those answers won't change the outcome. Your decision to withdraw wasn't impulsive. It was deliberate, rooted in self-respect and awareness of your needs. In the end, when she seeks closure, it's an invitation for you to reevaluate your priorities. Do you reopen a door that you closed for a reason, or do you stay true to yourself and let your silence communicate your stance? The Stoic approach reminds us that we are not responsible for others' reactions, only our own. Protect your peace, honor your boundaries, and let that be your guiding principle. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for both yourself and her is to leave the silence unbroken. That, in itself, is the ultimate form of closure. Number 5. The shift in emotions. Imagine this scenario. You've stepped back. You're no longer initiating conversations, sending texts, or making calls. The attention you once freely gave is now absent, creating a void in the dynamic. What happens next? Emotional waves begin to ripple. She might react with anger, sadness, or even relief. These emotions aren't random. They're her way of responding to the change. As someone who values Stoic principles, it's essential to understand that her reactions are a reflection of her perspective, not a mandate for your behavior. The Stoics teach us that emotions, while powerful, are transient. Think of them as the passing weather, sometimes tumultuous, sometimes serene, but always shifting. Her feelings, whether frustration, sorrow, or relief, are temporary states influenced by the situation, not truths you must internalize. For instance, let's say she responds with anger. Maybe she sends sharp messages or vents to her friends about how you've pulled away. The temptation to explain yourself or defend your actions can be strong, but Stoic philosophy teaches you to remain steady. Her anger is hers to manage. As Epictetus wisely stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Stay calm, grounded, and focused on your values, rather than being swept up in her emotional storm. Now imagine she reacts with sadness. She might send messages expressing how much she misses your attention or lament the loss of connection. This can tug at your emotions, sparking a desire to comfort her. But here's where Stoic principles guide you to act with restraint and self-control. Her sadness is a valid emotion, but it's also hers to navigate. Your role isn't to fix it or to rush in and fill the gap. By allowing her the space to process her feelings, you honor both her emotional journey and your own boundaries. Then, there's the possibility she feels relief. Perhaps she had already started pulling away, and your decision aligns with what she wanted. This can feel unexpected or even painful, but Stoicism offers clarity here as well. Her relief is not a reflection of your worth. It's simply her truth in this moment. If she's happier without your presence, it's a clear sign to let go with dignity. As Seneca noted, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Use this insight to move forward with grace and focus on what truly matters in your life. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea of control, knowing what is within your power and what isn't. Her reaction to your decision is beyond your control. What you can control is your response to it. Will you allow her emotions to pull you back into a dynamic that no longer serves you, or will you stand firm, prioritizing your peace of mind? When she reacts emotionally, whether with anger, sadness, or relief, remember this: emotions are fleeting, but your inner stability can endure. Let her responses come and go without allowing them to disrupt your sense of calm. By focusing on what is within your control and letting go of what isn't, you protect your peace and maintain your self-respect. Take a moment to reflect on how you've handled emotional shifts in the past. Have you allowed someone else's feelings to dictate your actions, Or have you remained steady in your decisions? Stoicism offers a powerful framework to navigate these moments with grace and clarity. I'd love to hear your thoughts. How have you responded in situations like this? Share your experiences in the comments. Your insights not only deepen your understanding, but also foster a sense of community among others who are striving for personal growth and resilience. Let's continue this journey of self-mastery together. Number 6. Recognizing your value. Let's explore an interesting shift that happens when you stop reaching out to her or chasing her. She begins to assess your value. It's common for men to get caught up in questions like, does she still care? Does she see my worth? What's going through her mind now that I've stepped back? While it's natural to have these thoughts, the trap lies in letting her reactions dictate how you feel about yourself. Here's the reality. Your value isn't defined by anyone else. Not her, not society, no one. And this is where Stoicism provides profound insight. The Stoics teach us that self-worth is cultivated internally. It stems from your character, your actions, and your adherence to your values, not from how others perceive or respond to you. Her thoughts, reactions, or even her decision to come back are not what establish your worth. It's about the person you are when no one's watching, when no external validation is offered. When you stop pursuing her, it shifts the dynamic. She starts reflecting on the relationship, reconsidering the role you played in her life. Perhaps she recalls your steady demeanor, how you remained composed in the face of challenges, or how you didn't let outside circumstances control your actions. But while she's processing all this, your focus shouldn't be on her. It should be on grounding yourself in your own sense of worth. Depending on her attention or approval only pulls you away from genuine inner strength. Let's say you've chosen silence, withdrawing from constant communication. Naturally, she might begin to notice your absence and wonder about the kind of person you are. Maybe she's realizing how grounded you seemed, how you handled situations with calm confidence, or how your strength stood out in subtle ways. Yet, during this time, you're not sitting by your phone, anxiously waiting. You're using this moment to deepen your connection with yourself, to reflect on whether you're living up to your own standards, because that's where real self-respect lies. Here's the beauty of stepping back. It creates room for curiosity. She might start missing the steadiness you brought to her life, the way you carried yourself with grace, or your ability to stay unshaken by fleeting emotions. This process of reevaluation happens on her side. But whether she chooses to reconnect or not doesn't alter your worth. Your value is independent of her decisions. This is the core lesson Stoicism offers. Stand firm in your principles and resist being swayed by others' opinions. Picture the scenario. You've stopped initiating contact, and now she's left pondering. She's evaluating your actions and realizing you're not a man who's easily swayed by emotional turbulence. That's attractive because confidence rooted in self-awareness and principles is magnetic. It signals that your sense of value isn't tied to anyone else. It's anchored in who you are. When you stop chasing her, it's far from a defeat. It's a moment of empowerment. You're demonstrating that you're secure in yourself and that you don't need anyone's validation to feel worthy. Your value is reflected in how you treat others, how consistent you are with your principles, and how you carry yourself, even in moments of uncertainty. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom, self-sufficiency, and the understanding that the only validation that truly matters is your own. So the next time you find yourself stepping back from someone, remember this. Your worth isn't contingent on whether she reaches out, acknowledges your value, or reconsiders her feelings. What matters is that you know your worth and live by it daily. When you embrace this mindset, whether she chooses to return becomes secondary. You're anchored in something unshakable, your character and your unwavering commitment to living by your values, just as the Stoics taught us. Number 7. When she reaches out after you stop trying. Picture this. You've stopped reaching out to her. No more late-night calls, no more texts to check in, no more plans to meet. Silence fills the space where your efforts once were. Then, unexpectedly, she reaches out. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe she misses the attention. Or perhaps she's wondering what's changed. The question is, what's your next move? Do you immediately jump back into the conversation, hoping to pick up where you left off? Or do you approach this moment with a calm and calculated perspective? This is where a Stoic mindset can make all the difference. Stoicism encourages us to pause, reflect, and act intentionally rather than impulsively. When she reaches out, it's natural to feel a surge of emotions: excitement, hope, or even nervousness. But this is the perfect opportunity to practice emotional discipline. Remember, your power lies in how you choose to respond, not in how she expects you to react. Instead of rushing to reply or letting her message throw you off, take a moment to breathe. Think carefully about her intentions and, more importantly, your own. What do you truly want from this interaction? A Stoic man approaches this situation with clarity and purpose. He doesn't seek validation from someone else. He seeks alignment with his own principles and goals. For example, imagine she sends a message like, "Hey, it's been a while. How are you?" The version of you from the past might have seen this as an open door to dive back into deep conversations or rekindle the connection. But now, with Stoic wisdom guiding you, your response is calm, respectful, and measured. You might reply with, "I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Hope you're doing okay too." It's short, polite, and doesn't give away too much. By maintaining emotional control and not letting the excitement of her message dictate your actions, you preserve your self-respect. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, our responses, and our behavior. You can't control her motives or what she's hoping to achieve by reaching out, but you can control how you engage with her. When you stop chasing someone, the balance shifts. Many women notice when the attention fades, and some will reach out to see if they still hold the same influence over you. But with Stoic principles, you no longer play into those dynamics. Your actions are no longer driven by a need to win her back or prove something to yourself. Instead, you act from a place of inner strength and self-assurance. If she reaches out, let your response reflect your calm and grounded nature. Don't let emotions dictate your choices. Instead, remain in control of your peace and your actions. You don't need external validation to feel whole. You've already cultivated a sense of fulfillment within yourself. That's the essence of Stoicism in relationships. You're not reacting out of desperation or hope. You're responding with reason, balance, and confidence. So, the next time her name pops up on your phone, pause. Ask yourself what truly matters to you. Respond with poise, and let your actions demonstrate your strength. A Stoic man is defined not by who contacts him, but by how he carries himself, with dignity, control, and unwavering self-respect. Number 8. Embracing your own path. Picture this. You've stopped reaching out, stepped back from chasing her, and now you're left with questions lingering in your mind. What happens next? Will she notice? Will she care? The uncertainty can feel overwhelming at first. But here's the truth. The focus shouldn't be on her reaction. The real change begins within you, and this is where Stoic wisdom becomes a guiding force. When you stop pursuing her, you reclaim control over your emotions. You're no longer operating from a place of seeking approval or attention. Instead, you're turning inward, prioritizing your self-respect, core values, and emotional fortitude. This is the kind of inner confidence that can't be shaken. Stoicism teaches that true happiness isn't found in external validation, like her texts, her interest, or her acknowledgement, but in cultivating inner peace and self-reliance. Now let's consider how she might respond when you stop chasing. Maybe she'll reach out, curious about your sudden silence. Maybe she'll reflect on your absence and question what it means. Or perhaps she won't do anything at all. Women are often intuitive, and your shift in energy may trigger her to reevaluate the dynamic. But here's the key. What she does next isn't the defining factor. The real power lies in your detachment from the outcome. You're no longer consumed by whether she texts back or shows interest. This shift isn't about abandoning her. It's about prioritizing yourself. You're letting go of the need to control the situation, and in doing so, you're embracing a higher sense of freedom. Stoicism reminds us that while we can't dictate how others feel or act, we can control how we respond. By stepping back, you're not giving up. You're simply choosing to live without being tethered to her response. Whether she comes back or not, you remain grounded, knowing your worth isn't dependent on her actions. Consider this scenario. You've been the one keeping the conversations alive, always initiating, always reaching out. You decide to stop. Days pass, and there's silence. At first, you might wonder if she's even noticed. But then, something shifts. You start to feel lighter. You're no longer glued to your phone, overthinking every text, or waiting for her response. Instead, you're focused on your own growth, your goals, and your life. Maybe she eventually reaches out, or maybe she doesn't. Either way, you've found peace in the uncertainty, a hallmark of Stoic resilience. This process isn't just about stepping back from her. It's about stepping forward into your own life. By releasing the attachment to her response, you're allowing yourself to live fully in the present. You're no longer burdened by what-ifs or trapped in the cycle of hoping for a specific outcome. You're aligning your actions with your principles, and that's where true confidence and self-respect thrive. In the end, whether she chooses to reconnect is secondary. The real reward is what you've gained: emotional resilience and clarity. You've learned that true dignity and inner strength come not from chasing someone else's attention, but from living authentically, grounded in your values. Stoicism reminds us that our power lies in this ability to let go of what's outside our control and focus instead on what truly matters: our own character and the path we choose to walk. As we come to the end of this video, let's reflect on the deeper insights we've uncovered. When you decide to step back in a relationship, it's not about manipulation or proving a point. It's about reclaiming your sense of self, guided by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. The silence you create isn't just a void for her to fill. It's a powerful space for both of you to reflect. For her, it might prompt questions, curiosity, or even a reassessment of the dynamic. For you, it's a chance to realign with your principles, strengthen your inner resolve, and rediscover your own value independent of external validation. Stoicism teaches us that our peace of mind comes from within, not from others. This means that your worth doesn't hinge on whether she notices your absence, reaches out, or reflects on the connection. Instead, your worth lies in how you carry yourself: calm, composed, and true to your values. By focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and reactions, you cultivate a strength that no one can take away. This process isn't about chasing her or waiting for her to notice. It's about embracing your own growth and prioritizing your well-being. If she reaches out, let your response be guided by reason, not emotion. If she doesn't, recognize that her silence doesn't diminish your value. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the essence of Stoic resilience, staying steady and grounded regardless of external circumstances. Remember, stepping back isn't a loss. It's an act of empowerment. You're no longer bound by the need for validation, and that freedom is transformative. Whether she reflects on your absence or not, the most important shift is the one happening within you. You're learning to prioritize your peace of mind, your self-respect, and your journey toward becoming the best version of yourself. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Share your experiences, or simply type, "I choose self-respect," as a way of affirming your commitment to inner growth. Your insights not only add depth to this conversation, but also inspire others who are navigating similar situations. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like. It's a small gesture that helps the channel reach more people and spread this message of empowerment. And before you go, take a moment to check out the recommended videos on your screen. They'll guide you deeper into Stoic principles and how they can transform your relationships, mindset, and life. Thank you for being here, for watching, and for investing in your personal growth. Until next time, stay grounded, stay true to yourself, and keep choosing self-respect. See you in the next video.